Right, my name is Sidney Salmonzella, and I am a senior housing specialist for the Housing and Community Services Department. And I'm here with you this afternoon for our landlord panel discussion over home choice vouchers. And this is our esteemed panel over here. I'll go ahead and introduce each one. If you just raise your hand as I say your name. So Andy Bias is a general partner in Waterman Residences LLC, Peaceful Village, and property management for TWAD Rentals LLC. Bias is also a former Sedgwick County Commissioner and former President, CEO of Midnight Housing. He has been in the affordable housing arena for 24 years. And then Winston Stiff, who was originally from, is it Ettrick, Virginia?
That's a lot to read. But yes, it is Ettrick, Virginia. That's
All right. Well, he's right. It is a lot.
Sure. 15 years. Yeah, and I got in it through somebody who told me that I could do real estate. And so I evolved from selling real estate into investing and impacting people, young people, grown people alike. That's the transfer. That's pretty much it. And I've been in the HCV program, the Section 8 program for, I guess, 15 years.
Okay, and our last panelist is Leanna, is it
Carter.
Carter? And she'll just tell us a little bit about herself too.
Yes, I've been in property management for about 16 years. This is my first full-on year in the HCV program. And yeah, that's about it. Found my job on Craigslist.
Okay, so with those introductions, I have 7 questions I'll ask them. And then with whatever time we have left, we'll open it up for some questions from the audience. And so it looks like the first question we have is, what has your experience working with tenants who are on the program? Or what's been your experience working with tenants who are on the program?
Okay, you want us to use the mic?
Yep.
Well, she goes, no. But since he handed it to me, I'll start. Most of the time, the tenant is just looking for a quality place to stay, affordable place to stay. And most of the time, they really don't know how to do the paperwork. So it's just a question of assisting and making sure that we get it done and move them in. And then that they understand, and I tell them this all the time, respect your program and respect what they're asking of you. So you're working with someone at the city, do what they say do. Don't do what I say do, do what they say do, because they're controlling the money. If the money goes wrong, it hurts you, it hurts me. I'm gonna rent it, whether I rent it to you or not. You need to make sure you do what they say. So if there's paperwork, there's information, if there's something you're lacking that they don't have, make sure you get it to them, because if you don't, they'll pull your money. So that's the start of it. I won't monopolize. Go ahead.
My experience has been working with tenants in the program has been pretty positive. I was just explaining to Leanna that I read all of my tenants the Riot Act, and I verbally state to them, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you not rent from me. And what I'm doing is I'm laying down the law, my expectations of how I want you to conduct yourself inside of this home. It's our home. If they move in, it's our home, but this home. And I'm not rude. I'm not disrespectful. I'm not judgmental. But I tried, and if they stay, I got people that have been with me for 14, 15 years. Because they know what my expectations are. And I think sometimes as landlords, we just take the check. You know, well, I got a viable person here. Yeah, you look pretty decent. Or your stuff checks out on paper. And I don't think we tell them enough what your expectations are, and then ask them what's your expectations of me. And I also tell them that for you adhering to my Riot Act, so to speak, I'll be there within 24 to 48 hours. I'm not a slumlord. I will be there between 24 and 48 hours. And if I'm not there, I will give them a number to somebody to call. to get there and fix their problem. Just don't call me on Sunday for a problem that's been going on for 2 weeks. I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to answer. So that's been my experience, and it's been pretty good. I've been pretty positive dealing with Section 8 people.
Mine, it makes me even more nervous.
Okay.
Mine's been positive and very challenging because I've just gotten into working with the program probably about a little over a year ago. The first time I had worked with housing, the owner was very micromanaged, and I didn't get to experience the processes and what I had to do to work with the program. And coming to the new property that I'm at now, I was kind of thrown into it, and I learned how the program worked from the tenants more, and they helped me. So now I'm more knowledge to help them. And to me, it's rewarding to be able to help them find their homes, and shifting from conventional to, housing. The way I treat the residents does not change. And it's been a shock to them because they've experienced, rough landlords and ones that don't comply. So it's been a good shift for them to see someone that actually cares. And I hear a lot of that they have, that problem. So mine has been good because it's been a really good learning experience for me, and, personally and professionally.
Hey, Cindy, if I can add, there might be some people in here who have a lot of properties, like hundreds, 80 to 90, 100 properties. You just gotta find a system that works, and whoever's leading the way for you, who's at the forefront of your business, you need to have some sort of system that manages what seems to be that type of client coming in the door, right? And I think if you do something like that, you might be able to have some success and less failures.
Okay. The next question we had is, what do you like best about being part of the program?
Oh, what we like best about being part of the program. I like it because I've always wanted to do something to change the world. Growing up, it was like, I'm gonna be the president. I'm gonna change the world. But this is, a way for me, even just when I started, years ago, I'm helping people find a home, and to see the different reactions and to get the stories of what's brought them to me, or that kind of stuff. That's kind of been mine. That's my answer.
Best part of the program. I'm a people person. If you read part of the bio, I've traveled a lot and been engaged in a lot of people, a lot of communication opportunities. So I test things a lot. Like, how do I get this person to move this way? Or how do I get them, persuade them to do this or that, the other? And so I test some of those things to try to bring the best out of the people that I engage, trying to bring the best out of the tenant. I don't have 100 or 300 or, get some things like that where you may not be able to have that personal touch. I have just enough that I can manage. And so I try to get everyone who gets engaged with me to be better than they were when they came in the door. And they leave the same way, better. And if nothing else, I'm trying to shift the paradigm of thinking from the Section 8 program, because I try to encourage them to get off, to something better, which is what God blessed them to be, which is something more than typically one thing what they're coming in the door with.
I want both of those, just beautiful answers, just wonderful. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. The reason you like the program is the money, the dollars of money. But those were wonderful. They're gonna take a full action after we're done. It's the money. If you're gonna do multifamily housing, it's a challenge collecting your rents. Section 8 is a great tool. It's a great tool because once you put it in play and you stay compliant, your money's there every month. I got 72 units in Plainview, 36 of them are Section 8. I got 80 units downtown, a fourth of them are Section 8. So I know that check is gonna be there. I know that. And granted, there's a percentage that the tenant will have to pay. And sometimes that's a challenge, and becomes very much a challenge for the tenant when they pay next to nothing, but they don't pay. So you bend over backwards working with them to make sure they stay compliant. Hell, sometimes I pay it. So because it's my money. That's what I tell them. I tell them all this all the time. I said, life happens to all of us. When it does, and it impacts your money, you're going to be the first to know. And if it impacts your rent, I'd like to be the second to know. Not because it's going to change the world, but because if I know first of the month, there's opportunities, there's organizations, there's people that we can go talk to that could perhaps get them over that hurdle. That's what it's about. So Section 8 helps with the money.
And for our next question, we're gonna go to the other end of that spectrum, which is what has been your least favorite thing about being part of the?
We don't have that kind of time. Okay, since it came back this way.
Yeah.
My least favorite would be my housing assistant program contract. You see, if you're going to do Section 8 and you're going to do it well, the landlord has to be patient. And in that patience, you don't get paid until you have a signed contract. And so if you don't have a signed contract for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you don't get paid. Y'all ain't hear me. You don't get paid. But that tenant is living there 30 days, 60 days, 90 days for free. That's my least favorite.
So they don't live there for free. It's just money in the bank.
You ain't been around some of my tenants.
You're gonna make them sign. So the least favorite thing for me is that, but I know that if we're in this business, if you've been in it for a long enough time, you could probably carry it for a little bit. You know, you got $2,000 or $3,000 in the bank. And another is, and sometimes trying to get a hold of staff, and I think they're maybe understaffed, and trying to get them to work this thing as far as getting the contracts back to you in a timely enough fashion, so you're not waiting a month or so, but, you know, that's something that they have to manage, but one of the better things is, my best experiences are dealing with the staff. They're really good people. They were very conscientious, but not getting the money, not getting the tenants to pay their portion of the rent on time, and you have to sometimes browbeat and chastise and say, hey, what are you gonna, I don't want, and then you don't want to put them out because how much did you have to spend on a term month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$5,000
$5,000 or $6,000, you could put somebody out for $50. You know, they pay $250 and then you got $5,000 waiting on you. Then you're gonna get somebody that you don't know. You haven't groomed them, so there you go. So we have to work with them, and that's just probably the hardest thing right there. Is getting Section 8ers to pay their portion of the rent.
That's where I was thinking too, is while it's probably my favorite part of working with the program, helping the tenants, it's also my least favorite part is the tenants. Just because of the way we're treated, as the landlord. I feel, I don't know all the guidelines and the stipulations for them to be voucher holders, but I feel that there's sometimes not they're not held accountable, the tenants aren't, so, because they have their housing worker to fall back on, I'm gonna call housing. Well, no, you still have to clean your apartment, you still have to take care of it too, you still have to, so that's been my least favorite part is, the other side of the tenants.
Okay. And the next question is, what has your experience been working with Housing Choice Voucher staff, including inspections?
Started off, I'm positive.
I was gonna do the same thing.
Okay.
You got a positive experience, ladies and gentlemen.
The whole staff that I work with, I coming into it, I got thrown, it's the, property management, you get in there, you don't really have the training, it's a winging it thing, so I emailed at the time, it was Maria who was over my property, and I emailed her and said, hey, we've done this a few years ago, I'm back. Every question I had was answered. I had the ability to call them. They taught me the program, they taught me everything I need to know. And they're still there a year and a half later, helping me, and we're together, working together to build what works best for my community, my property. And so I feel with their help, I have definitely grown more passionate about working with the program and pushing my company, sorry, my management company, to continue allowing me to work with it, not taking it away, because there is not a lot anymore. And I could get going, so just go ahead and stop me.
Well, I'm gonna save the truth for Andy again. I'm gonna follow suit with her and just tell her that the staff at the housing office has been fantastic over the years, and I've seen some of them grow from the front desk all the way to a position at the table. Kathy Laws, Cruzeiro, quite a few others. Janet, when she was a inspection coordinator. Whenever I called, whenever I needed anything, I could get a hold of someone via email or phone call, leaving them a message, they'll call me back. And I think sometimes as landlords, we get, like Andy said, we gotta be patient, build a relationship. Find a way to build a relationship there. Whoever's coordinating with your tenants, build a relationship. Don't yell at them, scream at them, cuss at them, call them bad names. Where is that gonna get you? What is that, honey vinegar thing? Okay, put that in play. Use that to persuade them to assist you in getting your money. Or helping you get the money, get the bag, okay? So the staff has been great. Everybody from the bottom to the top, the inspectors, they train you. Now, when you're talking about inspections, a lot of people, a lot of landlords don't want to touch it because the inspection, oh, they sensitive, oh, you got a little rip in the screen, you're not gonna prove my property, or you got a little thing missing, you got a little chip of paint missing, so they're gonna get on you. But what does it do? What does it do for me? It makes me accountable for the properties that I have. What I say earlier, I'm not a slumlord, don't want to be one. And it hurts my feelings when my tenants even allude to the fact that someone said that I was. So what they do is they make you stay accountable, make you stay on top of your properties. And then the ones that aren't in the Section 8 program, you go by those houses and you say, I need to fix that. I need to fix that. I need to do that. And so that inspection process is so very valuable. Look at it a different way. It's helping you. It's helping you help them. Look at it a different way. Don't look at them as the police or somebody coming down on you. Look at it as a positive thing. And the group they have over back in the day when Jackie was there and a couple others and Archie in place right now, great group of guys. And all of them over there, great group of guys.
And see, y'all expected me to say something different, and that's not true. They spoke the truth to you. All that's very true. And the key word really was relational, relationships. If we're in this to make it work, and we are, we know they need us and we need them. All that has to work well together. And it's not good when you find out that they have turnover, because now you gotta build a new relationship with someone. So it makes a world of difference when you get to see them, you get to know them, you understand what's going on, and you all on the same page, because they have a job to do, we have a job to do. And the best way to do that is we're on the same page and trying to make that happen, because we're not in it for it to fail. I tell the tenants all the time, if I'm sitting there in front of you, we're signing this lease, and I thought, you know, in 2 months I'm kicking you out. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? It's not the point. The point is success. So that, what they said, I'm not gonna change that. That was wonderful. I remember that was a wonderful year. That's great.
Do you have the same screening process for all of your tenants, voucher holder and non-voucher holder?
I have to. Oh, yeah.
No.
I mean, I do. I mean, my property, I do. I mean, they all have the same background and credit check and all that kind of screening. I have to treat my non-voucher holders the same as my voucher holders.
I'm gonna be honest. I have some low-income housing tax credit properties. Those very high, we go through a certain requirement. You gotta do it.
Yeah, you got to.
I have some properties that I know my phone rings because they got kicked out of most any place they've been and they've got felonies, so they have a situation. So they're calling me to ask me what disqualifies me. And I said, okay, well, I don't have that kind of time. Are you currently committing a murder as we speak? No. Then you're good. But we go from there.
Oh, wow.
We go from there.
Wow. Wow. Currently, so that means you take anybody.
Yeah.
Okay. I am, she and I are on the same page all day. I do have the same screening process with, tenants who are Section 8 or non-Section 8. And it really is, it's contingent on meeting them, riot act, background check. If they can survive the conversation, they're 99% there if they can handle the conversation. Cause I'm gonna be real with them.
Yep.
I ain't got time to play no game. What I put into those houses, I make them to where I'm gonna live in them if they want. I'm not gonna put together any junk. So I want them to understand the value that is valuable to me, and I want it to be valuable to them. So I will give them that, and then I'll do the background check and meet them and file, you know how I go. You like what you see what's on the background check, and you let them in. If not, you just don't let them in. Plain and simple. Good. Anything else? Okay.
If you were able to make any changes to the program, what would it be?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Go on, girl.
I don't know all the qualifications to receive a voucher. I feel that the, screening process that we have, can maybe be put, or if you, let me rephrase this. If you've left a property owing $6,000 and you're a voucher holder, you should still be a voucher holder.
Amen.
If you've left a property or you've been removed from the property, not eviction, but for conduct, threatening to kill your property manager, you should still not have a voucher. That's one thing I would change.
Gee, don't be so hard.
Personal feeling, I work, pretty much every day. The police department and like our area knows my staff, by name. I last Tuesday had 11 calls just to my property. So I feel that I deal with a lot, on a daily basis, and I shouldn't have to. And if you're gonna receive the assistance, you should be a good, positive part of the program as well.
Yeah.
Giving that program a good name. And I have 90% of my property is Section 8, and a good 60% of them give the program a good name. The other 40% are taking advantage of it, shouldn't have vouchers, live in filth. I can get going, and I'm working on making the property better. And I've said, it was said to me before, I'm making it better, but I have to evict them for them to not be on the program again, and it's not another person's problem. It shouldn't take an eviction that's gonna follow them forever. They should still be able to get some sort of housing, but not a voucher, that they've done. That's just, I'm done. I can keep going.
That's good. That's good.
The one change that I would make, I believe, if I heard correctly on break, it's already been made. One of the things that I always wanted with a housing assistance payment contract was not necessarily getting it to me earlier, but just knowing the information. So if the tenant's information is shared early on, then that we can share with the tenant what they should be paying us each month before the contract gets in. That way they don't get behind, because they could get in the arrears very easily and then not be able to keep up once the money does come in. I never worry about the city ultimately going to pay. It's also with that, and I believe they've implemented a new change. So I'm already happy before the day's over, since if that's what they're going to do now. And if the tenant now knows when they're meeting the landlord what their portion is, that's a good thing. Great. Add to it.
So this has been, begging ever since the beginning of time of being involved in the program. And, I don't know if there is who's on staff? Raise your hand. Thank you.
Oh, the whole back.
So here's my dilemma. Here's my dilemma. We're held, landlords are held to an accountability standard. These tenants are not held to any accountability standard whatsoever. And you know what? How do we shift the paradigm from ridiculous living? And the same thing I just had this week. I'm putting somebody out because they wanted to bury trash in the garbage in the shed. And they have trash service. And when you go in the house, it's just absolutely disgusting. And so we have no accountability program for tenants to teach them how to act. How do we shift the paradigm? And we're not, come on. Let me finish this little speech. This on the soapbox right now. And we gotta shift the paradigm of the tenant's mindset. If they're using this program, they gotta go through some sort of training, not just on paper or something. It's gotta be something a little bit more mind wrenching, boggling, whatever it is, wokeness, to tell them and to let them know when they go inside that house, it's a sanctuary. Don't tear it up. Don't mess it up. This is how you're supposed to live. Maybe they need to go through some pictures on the screen and tap on the pictures that they want to live in. All of that. This is how you clean a bathroom. This is how you keep the yard clean. This is how you don't rip the blinds the day after you move in.
Oh, you know it.
All of that. So if we don't have a shift in the paradigm and the thinking of the people that are moving into our cribs, then it's not, all of this stuff ain't gonna work. Because we landlords are doing what we're supposed to do as far as providing the house, you come and inspect, we do that. But no, we gotta find some accountability. Sally, I know you got something to say.
No, she does, but just before she does, because that part is true. I don't know if we'll ever get to what Winston wants, but since there is an inspection before they move in, we have to pass it. So you know, as a property owner, it passes for them to move in. You know that. So then there's other inspections. And the only part that I'm saying, and I agree with 100%, is accountability. Don't tell the landlord, you gotta fix the storm door when it was perfectly fine when they moved in. But why is it now to me to fix? Or fix something that you clearly can see was not damaged through wear and tear, it's just not working. The door on the stove is broke. Why is that on me? I don't live here. Accountability. That way, if they're held accountable, they might be a little more responsible. I'm not gonna keep going, since you're here.
All right, I don't want to tangle you up there.
No, you're good.
So I just wanted to bring up the one point, I've had conversations with landlords about this in the past. The element of accountability is there, because if you evict, they get terminated. When you just non-renew and hand them to the next landlord, you just handed off your problem to perpetuate that person still staying on the program.
But
It's hard. I agree. In some circumstances, it can be challenging.
I dealt with one resident for like 3 months and they flooded my laundry room twice, their apartments 3 times. I mean, and feces everywhere, but
I know exactly the case you're talking about.
I was stuck with it for 3 months.
But landlords are not doing other landlords any justice in handing off tenants that aren't abiding by the program. And we can't be the judge and jury. That's why we wait for the eviction, because there is a judge who's going to say yes or not. No, did the person violate the lease? Right? We can't be the ones, because trust me, I've met in lots of bad tenants and lots of bad landlords in 30 years.
Okay, if you can, If you can, because
Tell them, Dr. Van, go ahead.
mainly you evict for the money. So if I can't evict for the money, if I gotta evict for a problem, I got the 15-30 day challenge that the tenant has opportunity to fix it up.
Absolutely, if they fix it up, it's great.
But
Right.
then if they turn around and go back, right back into it and it's continuous, sooner or later, I gotta figure out how I can evict this person. And it can't be
And
the
you
dollars.
can. Repeated violations of the lease, it grounds
That's
for
a
you to
14
fix.
So-
It is.
But are the ones that are being removed on the 14th, sorry, no, the 1430 violation, I've got two that are supposed to be moved out this month. Are they losing their vouchers?
They're not, and they're not.
But
If you evicted them because they didn't,
they're being removed forcefully. I mean, they have to be moved out of the apartment because they violated the lease contract more than once. But it's not an eviction. It's still, I mean, it's 1430.
they're choosing
Yeah.
to leave.
No, I'm telling.
No, they're choosing to leave before they get evicted. They are choosing to leave before they are physically evicted.
Can I ask
Is
this
what I'm
question?
saying. Yes.
Ask this question. So my question is, I don't want to get to eviction, I want to keep them. So before, how do we train and shift the mindset, train them to be different? I don't want to evict them. I don't want to get rid of them. If I signed them up, then that means I said I wanted to keep them. So if I want to keep them, how do we have a continuous training program for people who don't know how to live civilized in a home? So if they're gonna be in your program, can we train them in month one? And then, and before they get in the program, can we train them 4 months later? Can we make them, they're gonna train, because they want the money too, they want a place to stay. Can we train them at least 4 times a year to say that you're living like you should be living within a home? And the way that some of the people are living, like she's having to endure that, I kicked them out the first day, they flooded something. But at the end of the day, it's not doing this lady I got a lady with 5 kids, and ain't gonna do her no good to be evicted on the street, but she had no home training whatsoever. And if they get in this program, there should be a consistent training program every quarter or something that they need to pass to teach them how to live within these homes. No.
There are a lot of folks who just don't know, and I do wish there were resources within the program or anywhere in the community. We've had some conversations with a couple of nonprofits about trying to create such a program, especially for those with challenging backgrounds that are having trouble leasing, or they can actually certify them as having passed a training program like that. But my point only being is, it really hurts my heart when I do see landlords passing bad tenants to other landlords.
Well, it's gonna happen. It's gonna keep going because they won't get rid of it. But how do we fix those tenants coming in the door? How do we shift the mindset? How do we begin to shift the paradigm of thinking in the mindset of the old to the new? We're here to, if we're giving them money, if we're giving them a leg up, and then we're not giving them a leg up between the ears, then we're not doing them but passing money along. Okay, and I think that that's something that probably could be addressed. I'd be more than happy to come up and discuss.
Sure.
And I'm sure people in the audience would like to discuss. How do we begin to fix? Because my mother-in-law says it all the time. When you know better, you do better. Right? When you know better, you do better. And if you tell them that they want, you gotta do better than the way you live in. Once a year, every other year, whenever we get inspected, they gotta go through the same thing we go through.
I absolutely agree. But the worst scenario is to have to actually evict someone, and it's usually the nth degree, right? When you have to, you're done. You've tried and you've tried and you've tried to get them to comply. I get it.
It's hard.
But
It is.
Section 8 is a great program.
It's- Thank you.
That's actually a wonderful segue into our final question, which was, how would you sell the program to another landlord who was thinking about joining? So, yeah, keep that thought going.
This has been a commercial for out there. Honestly, people, it's no different than understanding the tools. As I said before, Section 8 is a good tool, but you have to describe it, explain it. If you don't describe a tool to someone, and someone simply asks you, I need a fly swatter, and they get handed a sledgehammer, and you wonder why are there these holes all over the place? Well, you said kill the flies, but use a sledgehammer. That's no good. That's no good. So there's a right way and a wrong way to use the tool. We have to understand that. We know as landlords, there's a level of risk if they don't listen to the speakers and if they don't adhere to things. And like it or not, you have to develop a system that takes care of you. Because if you don't be responsible for it, if I'll be honest with you, if you go into, and I'm gonna tell on myself, if you go into one of your units and it is Section 8, and you see that in the basement, they had dogs where there were no dogs allowed, and they tore the place up, and you have to redo the whole thing. And even the workers walk off the job because they said, I'm not going down there. And you can't blame that on Section 8. That's not on them. That's on the clientele, but it's also on, okay, well, I should have got over there a lot sooner than what I thought I needed to because of what was going on. Your reality is, what do you put in play to make sure that you keep quality? Because see, one thing that I love about my relationship with Section 8, especially my inspectors, they know I'm gonna handle my business. They know if they say, do this, it's gonna be done in a timely fashion and it's gonna be done correct. My tenants know that too. They'll tell you differently, but I know it's gonna get handled. And so that's what we give them on day one. All you gotta do is just don't eliminate the facts. When they first move in, it passed the inspection, it's of quality, it is clean, they like it. That's a fact. After that, it's process.
Okay, how would I sell, the program to other landlords? I would tell them, back to Andy's, first statement about, he didn't like the kumbaya, he liked the money. I mean, every month, I click the button on my bank account and, you know, the third day in, I got my check there, you know, and yeah, there's portions to be paid out, but I get it. They do a great job of making sure that we get our money. They know how hard a job it is for us. And then you go with the Andy portion, which is we have responsibilities too to our properties. You just can't let it sit there. You gotta go buy it, check it out. If you got hundreds of properties, you gotta have whoever your guy is or girl is or person is, to go make sure that these people see you. And if they don't see you, then they're gonna resort back to what they came from. So every now and then you gotta show up. Okay, you don't just think that it's gonna be all hunky dory and you haven't seen them in 12 months and you go over there and everything broke. Okay, send them a notice or something, say, hey, I'm gonna come up, be over there next month. There's something to keep them, help them. Because when I told this last group I was coming over, they had kids in there sweeping this thing up and everything else. I said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And they had all 10 of them, because I was only supposed to have 4 in the house, but there was 10 of us. And they're sweeping and cleaning, okay, and it, okay, still looked the way it was, but how would I sell it? It's a great program. They have a great staff of people that will help you get through the process. It's not a hard process. And the Section 8 does a good job of, you know, they got their challenges too, maybe with staff. And so every now and then it might be a little delayed. But again, I said this before, be patient, be persistent, be persistent. That's right. You said it first. I'll give you that star for that. Be patient, be persistent with it, but don't be rude and unkind. Okay, don't be rude and unkind, because they have a job to do too. And they just like you, I got 2 legs, 2 arms, head, whatever. We're all the same. And they got it. It's a hard job. It's a hard job for everybody. So just be persistent, whether it's email, call, text, whatever you got, but build a relationship first with whoever their caseworkers are. Build a relationship and you'll have better performance.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not a whole lot more to add to that, except for like, I don't know, to sell the program just from my experience and, you know, being on both sides of it. You know, for me, it has been, even while being challenging, it has been really rewarding. And I get to go home every night and know that I have helped people. Something I've always wanted to do, and as corny as it sounds, I feel like I'm doing good. I'm putting good out there, and so the good can come back to me. And you know, I feel that any landlord that's willing and able to do that, why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to help someone if you have that ability?
Well, given that I don't, I'm sorry to add back in, but, given the fact that I only have a few, and I can manage my own. I've got people who've gone on Section 8, encouraged them to move forward, got nurses now, from CNAs to nurses, from, no high school to high school graduates, and just trying to pour into them whenever I hear something about them that they may want to do, or sitting on the porch and listening to the sob story about the mother and the sister who condemned them for being, and she's got 6 kids. And I have to go in there and tell her that these 6 girls were watching you sleep all day long. They watching you. So I get to, and that woman, that young lady is now is an LPN, and her daughter wants to be, who's a CNA, and she's still in high school. They all want to become a nurse. So those are the wonderful things that feel good for me. Okay, that I get to do in being a part of this program. Is that and I go home sometimes sometimes my heart's broken, but most of the time it's filled with joy.
So those were all the questions that we had. So we'll open up these last few minutes if there are any questions from the audience for.
Well, if the staff is here, could they come up and introduce themselves so I can put names with faces? Cause I get these names, particularly maybe if Avery could come up.
Just calling them out now.
Avery just left the room.
What? I mean, and you know what I'm saying, cause I'm on the phone or email and I don't know who's who. I know some of you up here, but not everybody.
So I'm Brandy Niblett, Senior Housing Specialist.
That's Kendra, housing specialist.
Sally Stay, Housing Director.
Tanner Fallis, Compliance Assistant.
Eduardo Santillan, I'm the guy that fixes their software.
Hey.
Gordon, I'm a senior management analyst and admin.
And I'm Logan Bradshaw, I'm the Assistant Department Director.
I did, but in case you forgot, my name is Sydney Samangella and I'm a senior housing specialist.
Megan.
I'm Megan, I'm a clerk. I usually answer your calls first, so I'm the one trying to track people down for you.
Did you say have a question?
Yeah, so you mentioned like you have tenants that you have like long-term tenants, 14, 15 years that, you know, 904 vouchers and been helping people. But with that, then are you like actively investing in other properties to help additional people? Because I'm a case manager and we have clients with vouchers unable to locate availability that accepts vouchers. Like we know that there are some landlords that accept it, but then we run into barriers of not finding SPC, but
I don't know what SBC is.
also with, I mean, just,
They know that I work with them.
yes, yeah.
So it really has to do sometimes simply with availability. And unfortunately, the amount of monies that the voucher has and what the unit has, which sometimes it absolutely has no control of yours. But it does change from year to year sometimes. And what I will suggest to you from a landlord standpoint, it's very hard to always have to be the one to compromise. Now, if there's enough money there, it's not a compromise. You have a voucher, we have a unit, let's make that work. But if the money is less than the unit, you still have a client in need. And I may not have something. So if I have a studio that works great, if you want a one and I don't have it, I don't have it.
I would echo the same thing. I would echo the same thing as saying that, you know, 3 and 4 bedrooms, you know, bring X, Y, Z amount of money. And if you're with an agency that brings a lot less than that, then the tendency is not, because I got bills to pay too.
Yeah.
I got mortgages to pay and things like that. And I'll do what I can. If you call me, I'll refer you to some other people. But if the money doesn't match the property, then I probably won't be, you know, probably won't rent it at that level. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm good.
Yeah.
My question is the voucher for houses and apartments as well, or just houses?
Apartment, no.
That's a,
Yes, but then the rates are.
apartments or duplex. Yeah. Studios, apartments, duplexes, houses.
Yeah, anything that you can live in,
Yep.
anything you can live in. Not a shed.
In the purple, I gotta get rid of mine.
That's it, pass this
I
picture.
have a question. Yeah.
So are you guys able to work with mixed family status families? And then if so, then our landlords willing to take mixed family status.
What's a mixed family status? Fix me, help me.
Yeah.
What,
Those where maybe the mom is not documented, but the children are, or some people are making, so not everybody's documented, not everybody.
okay, well, I think if you're looking at trying to get vouchers or money from an organization, then that would be a question to address to them. And to me, if everything checks out, the background check works for those who are documented and they understand my process, then I'm likely to at least hear it out, you know?
So the children understand the process of. School that day.
I'm sorry.
What about those that are documented that are underage?
Uh-huh.
So the adult will be only.
I've had some, some kids in school who've spoken the English for the parents.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it works for me, again, as long as everything matches up to what my expectation is income wise for that particular property. Yeah, he's got something.
A point I just want to make, because a voucher can be used with multiple programs. So it's gonna be clear, understand what the program expectations are, and what the amount of that voucher is for. We have some properties with 3-bedroom units that they may have a 2-bedroom voucher for Section 8, and that's eligible. And they can rent the 3-bedroom unit for the 2-bedroom for Section 8. However, that same voucher for Shelter Plus Care may not work because of the guidelines of Shelter Plus Care needing heartbeats. So that's why I say you have to defer to the program, and whatever makes the program work is what you work with. I saw a hand. It went away. Oh, there it went again.
Yes, green shirt, green outfit.
Okay, so just following back on how we discussed this about transparency or accountability for the tenants. I kind of want to get an idea based on your tenants, if there's just a heightened feeling or there's a highlighting on tenants who have subsidies as opposed to regular tenants, and whether or not they're, acting accordingly in properties, or are we like kind of just zoning in on housing choice voucher peoples or people with subsidies? Because,
Oh, I want this one.
I mean, like, if you look at your properties, your tenants, do you see, that type of behavior more often in those type of subsidized housing? Or is it just general across the board, but our expectations are higher because these people are receiving subsidies?
Okay.
I feel like they should be.
Let me put all that in check for me. The Section 8, like I said, is a tool. The voucher is a tool. I handle all of my tenants the same way. I don't care that they have a voucher or they do have a voucher. I don't care what their previous background was or wasn't. I don't care what their addiction was or wasn't. I don't care what, I care about how they're gonna live today. What are they going to do today? I tell them, I want you to respect you. And the ones that have challenges, the ones that are faced with things that are tough for them, I asked them just point blank. I said, have you ever had one good day? Just one. They would say, well, yeah. I said, well, that's all I want. I said, that's all I want, but I get to pick it. They said, well, so you want Sunday, you want Monday, you want Tuesday? No. So they go through the whole week. And I said, I want today. You can have yesterday because it's gone and tomorrow's not promised. I want today. You give me today, we're gonna make this work. That's what I work with a challenge. Outside of that, it's a question of how we manage. And as a manager, as a landlord, unlike where Sally was coming from, manager and landlord controls one thing and one thing only. Who stays, who goes. That's it. We can't control your kids. We can't control who you sleep with. We can't control what you eat. We can't control none of that. But whatever it is you do will either aid to you staying or to you leaving. That's how it works.
Anybody else, question? Somebody was behind you, had a question? Hey, well, hey, oh, you can ready close to that?
I am.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, if you're prospective landlords, good luck. If you're current landlords, man, good luck. And continue, and hopefully this spurred on some thoughts, some different thoughts on how to manage and be better at what we do, so we can have the people come in the door and be better at living in your home.
Before you leave, can we get a quick show of hands? How many are landlords or housing providers that were in the room?
Okay.
And that's those coming here current yesterday.
Section 8, who's Section 8? Put your hands up. Who owns Section 8 property?
Oh, nice and windy.
Oh, wow. Hey, give it a shot. Here you go.
Thank you, and a round of applause for Phil, please. Thank you, Tony.
Good job, man.